In our meeting. So on the second page of our handout, we have the agenda.
Yeah, that's what I figured now.
And we'll start off with NRCS. So
Does anybody need one of these if they want one? There's some up here, there's some on the little table.
does anybody want an agenda? Everybody have an agenda? Do you want an agenda?
Here.
Yeah. He's one of the things. So Matt. And then, actually. Everything else is wrong. So Matt, you wanna begin? Okay.
So.
We're starting the meeting.
So then.
Excuse me, we're gonna start the meeting. So I made this little poster thing. Mary had asked me to explain the partnership between SWCD and NRCS. So I just wanted to explain first how I see SWCD's responsibilities. They support the community needs, protect environmental resources, and do educational outreach. And then NRCS helps landowners conserve natural resources on non-federal land, provide technical and financial assistance. And then we are partners. So what the responsibilities are between Soil and Water Conservation District in regards to NRCS would be to have basic knowledge of NRCS programs and practices, support the community needs, and be a conduit between NRCS producers, or NRCS and producers, and promote and do outreach. So I also gave you this is Title 12, and that explains all of the responsibilities of SWCD. But this right here is. Sure. So this says, encourage the optimal use of the state's production of food and other renewable resources to provide for the conservation of soil and soil and water resources of the state, and for the control and prevention of soil erosion and thereby to preserve natural resources. I also highlighted to control floods because that was also in that paragraph. This is like 1,000 pages long. I only printed 10 pages. Thank you. There's a lot of things in here that you can just browse through, but this would just help to see what the responsibilities of SWCD is. Another way to figure out what the partnership is would be to look at your memorandum of understanding. Every office has a different one. This is mine for Washington County, and most of them are very similar, but some offices will put different things in here. I know ours says things like adding the pamphlets to the foot holder, answering the phones, just like opening the office and manning the desk, answering questions for customers, things like that. Very simple things for the memorandum of understanding. If you end up being in an umbrella agreement, which you will actually do things like possibly planning, which is what Matt and Gustavo do, that would be a different agreement. Then you'll have to read through that. This agreement is more simple and just kind of simple responsibilities that I think just help with the little tasks around the office. And outreach, things like that. So this is ours, but it could be similar, and when you get a different DC in the office, they'll be able to go over it with you and talk about what their expectations are.
Were you able to devise a list of the needs of the conservation needs for the district as found in one of those paragraphs? And we will
So the conservation needs wouldn't be in the MOU, but
At least it's in ours. And
Oh,
Lindsay was gonna help us out on that.
do you have,
She was gonna check into it.
do you have an MOU? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we
So-
did them recently, we had to do it with recently. It's like you said, it's basic,
Yeah,
doing phone support, which I don't even do right now for you guys.
Yeah.
Happy to do that,
we don't have our district doing it either. It's in our MOU, but
yeah,
we have separate phone systems, so.
right.
Like, if for some reason, like, the phone was not stopping ringing, I'm sure the district would be like, hey, can we help you?
Yeah,
The other thing I just wanted to mention was, there are gonna be some gaps in what we can do and what the Soil and Water Conservation District can do, so like, things like local working group. SWCD can deliver information differently than NRCS can, so there will be needs in the community that NRCS can't meet, so the SWCD can try to meet those needs or at least deliver information to the community differently. Because we're federal, so we have limitations on what we can do.
can I give a quick example of
Yeah.
what we did? There are blueberry providers that participate in the trifecta system of rock removal, mowing, can you hear me, Jennifer? Yeah. Mowing and rock removal, mowing and full field mulching. And like we can collect local providers and distribute that information, but they're not allowed to. So that's like just one example.
Can I ask a really stupid question? What is NRCS?
Natural Resources Conservation Service. Yeah. Also another thing that is a gap that might be able to be filled is delivering information to the community about opportunities. So if you're out there and you're talking to somebody and they're saying, I really need help with this resource concern, this thing that I'm, lacking here on the land. And about practice or about a program that NRCS has, you can say, oh, well, go talk to the people at the Hancock County office. They have a program, they can do technical advice, they can do financial assistance, they can do this, they can do that. Or, like somebody says, I really want to put an easement, well, we might be able to help with that. So just like having that knowledge and knowing that that's something that we can do is just pretty good to have on hand.
That's something I need to develop, like, judge you for that.
Yeah.
We need that too.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, I'm scared it's the same thing, recommending contractors, we can't do that, but you guys can do that, recommending contractors, knowing people in the community around, so just having that local knowledge that we can't really go out there and just say, hey, I know Jim down the street has a tractor, maybe he can help you out, we can't say that. You guys can say that, and other things are just like other things that we don't do. So like a lot of people, at least that I know, come in asking for things like trail maintenance and stuff like that. NRCS doesn't do that, but that if that ends up being a community need and you see that coming in constantly, that might be something that your program can start developing. But we do not do that. So that's now going to be your program that you want to think about.
I have a question on that. So let's say that does become a community need. At the local working group, would it be possible to get that into a category of the local funds?
So that would be, it wouldn't be something that NRCS could help with at this point, at least, like that's not part of an NRCS program. But if the Soil and Water Conservation District comes up with some sort of grant funding that says, hey, this is the program that we want to do with such and such a land trust or something, that would be something that you guys could work on. And that would be, Carol might know more about that. About if they were to come up with some grant funding to do trail maintenance or.
Local working groups are held to direct funding for each soil and water conservation district, NRCS office. Those to direct those federal funds based on priorities within each of the service centers. So it's important for soil and water conservation districts to host those meetings because each service area is going to have different priorities. what they have for priorities down in Cumberland counties are not gonna be the same priorities that are happening here in Hancock County. Soil and Water Conservation District hosts those meetings. They can host more than one a year. It doesn't have to just be one and done. Also, many soil and water conservation districts utilize those meetings for just that reason. To identify priorities within the county or within the service area. Some NRCS is going to be able to address, others they're not going to be able to address. NRCS can't address municipal issues. They can't fund or address things within those municipalities. That's not within their purview. But that, again, as Ashley said, that's something that the district can then say, well, it's a priority, so we need to find a way to address that priority within the county. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, exactly. So like if the Soil and Water Conservation District sees a need in the community to address something, they may be able to find a way. And that would be something that you guys would discuss as a board.
And things that Hancock County, the Soil and Water Conservation District has already done. You know, there's been plenty of projects and programs I've seen come through that handle conservation challenges or priorities that wouldn't fall under NRCS's purview.
Like our
That's where the
plant sales,
district
our plant
puts it.
sales one, you know,
Yeah.
we can sell trees and trout.
Right, that's what
Well,
I
the,
see.
the clam flat,
The fisheries
yeah,
programs.
yeah, and the beach hill,
Right, so like we're seeing,
319.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
all of those things that the districts can put energy and bring funding into Hancock County. Bring monies into Hancock County and provide that soil and water conservation. That NRCS doesn't have the capacity to do it, or the ability to do it.
exactly. So like right now, a need in Hancock County would be irrigation. That's something that is like a high interest for blueberry farmers. If that were something that at this point NRCS couldn't help with, and it's kind of not questionable at this point, if we're going to be able to do anything with that. There might be some point where the Soil and Water Conservation District might start looking into ways, how can they help? How can you help? Because that's a community in this,
Right.
in this district.
Yeah. Yeah, and working with other entities as well, like the Wild Blueberry Commission, we got that grant from NRCS. That, as far as I know, is still kind of stuck in limbo.
Yeah, exactly.
But Eric Venturini, who's the executive director of that, the Wild Blueberry Commission, reached out to me and the Maine Association of Conservation Districts for assistance with providing input into that grant process, as well as letters of support. So that's the way that MACD, Maine Association of Conservation Districts, can be of benefit, because we're pretty sure that, you know, there's a limited area where irrigation of blueberries is gonna happen in the state of Maine. So, you know, that's one directed towards Washington, Hancock County, a little bit of Penobscot, I think, but.
Is that a
Yeah.
conservation innovative human grant or something like that?
No, it was our
Oh, actually.
RCPD, there it is. Well done, yeah, yeah.
That's all I have.
Some resources,
Thank you, Ashley.
even, partner.
Regional conservation.
Conservation, yeah,
Sense.
oh, the acronym. Please.
I think Matt's got the
Yep, I'll just do the report for Hancock County. We're coming up on the application deadline for financial assistance. That is gonna be August 22nd. Right now, Gustavo and I are working on planning for the application that we do have. Plenty of applications for blueberry producers, forestry, We also have ag waste, some irrigations have gone through, because of that, RPDP, but, being able to fund our AMA, the blueberry, which is the large acreage, so. We're restricted to, financial limits in AMA. So the IOA activities, still frozen. We had some applications that were pre-approved. Casey Taylor came down, we met with Peter Jordan, which was nice. So some of the partners in the county were able to be the incident. IRA, we had over 10 pre-approvals under IRA, and they were funded under a different program, so the people that were waiting for funds under the that profit and fund pool was able to get obligated. So we have some happy participants. That was really what Gustavo and I did in the last month, obligating these contracts. Other updates for the office. Lindsay left her position about mid-July. And Ashley is acting for the DC in Hancock County. Chuck Penny used to work in Hancock County years ago. He's going to be coming back August 12th, but he is on vacation, so he will actually be back August 19th. But Gustavo and I are in the office, so anyone has questions, and this one will be go to Ashley. Critical vacancies. The federal government opened up positions for hire that were deemed a critical vacancy, and we had 3. There was a Silicon position in Machias, the DC position in Ellsworth, and then
Silicon position in South Paris.
Yep. So that's all they were able to fill in that way.
How'd they make out with critical positions on engineers?
I think it was 0.
We had,
Yep.
it's. We don't have.
Unfair.
Yep, really unsure at this point in time if we're gonna open it up again, or where they're gonna with the hiring freeze, but that's where we're at this point in time.
First of fiscal year, maybe?
So, last thing, NRCS will be volunteering at the Blue Hill Fair, and that's from August 28th through September 1st. People, NRCS employees from all over the state will be there volunteering, so we have a soil health tunnel. We have a rainfall simulator on display. And then
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I love that simulator.
No, it's. Besides that, we'll be staffing tables, so we'll be able to deliver information for people who didn't go any better programs.
Now, can we join you like we did last year?
At the Blue Hill Fair?
Yep.
I don't see why not. Yeah, I can reach out to Tom, the boss, if it's something that you'd like to,
We sent out an email asking for volunteers.
Yeah, I usually do.
Okay.
And I'll put in the time slot somewhere on the, like he sent a little schedule.
Yep, if you got it and we can fill it out, that's great, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a meeting between now and the fair. That's why I'm asking you.
Good question, yeah, I'd reach out to Mary if you know to volunteer. Okay. All right, thank you all very much.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
I'm just gonna put everything back in the cooler. If anyone needs, put anything in.
It's actually Matt. Moving on, we have some business, board business to take care of. So, everybody had, should receive a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. Does anybody have any questions or corrections? Hearing none, should we entertain a motion to, okay? Do I hear a second? Anybody? Third, fourth,
Who seconded?
David Frank. All in favor, please so indicate. Okay, minutes are accepted, thanks.
Thank you, Mary, for doing a great job on this. I didn't have to look to think.
On what?
Yeah.
Minutes?
Minutes,
AI, I had to, the AI summarizes it for it right immediately after the meeting, but I just go through it.
I went through them and then you looked like.
I shared.
I didn't think you were a goddess.
yeah,
It's just going like this.
It is helpful, isn't it, Mary?
Well, in certain cases it is, yeah. It's good at data, analyzing data.
So treasurer, we have a brief report. We have any money in the bank.
What's that? I didn't,
How's our bank account doing?
that's all figured out on. That's crazy, I go,
Yeah.
about halfway through the packet.
After the minutes. We didn't number the pages, did we? No.
Oh, and
Yeah, the meetings, we got
Or those reports.
at the meeting,
Yeah.
it's a slow lot of minutes.
Or total holding. Any questions on those?
It looks pretty good.
You want it? Gotcha.
did you get your statement?
Yeah, we got
in?
it.
Okay.
You're asking.
And we do complete financials monthly, and it's all on our website, like
Yeah, if you want the
all those
details.
meetings and minutes.
Okay, we have a new attachment here.
Yeah.
We have started a event budget process. So we have an event.
Oh, that may not have made the packet.
Yes,
Some
on there.
of them.
We'll create a spreadsheet. And it's at the bottom of my report, too, so try and find it. So you can see there, we enumerate everything, the wrap, the banner, and what do we do on the banners? We get.
Didn't have time, I needed to
Okay.
fix the logo and get it here on time.
So this all gets plugged into our budget versus actual. And you just keep better track of what we're spending on events. We're doing more events than I can remember going forward.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
sent it to a lot.
Yeah,
When you-
so just better information and new
Okay, cool.
entry.
So we were also gonna talk about the copier.
So one thing about it. You want to lead off the last?
You want me to? What? Yeah, so our copier right now, I wasn't even sure if these packets were gonna get printed. Because we're kind of on the edge, it's been out of service since December. So we can't get, any factory parts or any assistance or any service on it. We've been trying to squeeze out everything that we can, but we're getting to the point where a lot of parts need to be ordered, and we want to spend $800 on 4 different drum cartridges that are $200 a piece, or is it time to? It's already, I don't know if you can notice, but on some of the pages, there's like a little yellow line in the middle and. The automatic feeder doesn't work anymore, the double-sided, you can't do double-sided anymore, so it does actually take a lot of my time to do those things, man. This is why these aren't double-sided, I just didn't have time to do that anyways, so. So anyways, so there are some choices. The first one is the Brother, it's an inkjet.
It is not a choice.
Yeah, okay.
It is not a choice. Inkjet is a
Yeah.
technology from the past.
Yep,
It is unacceptable.
Second,
okay, cross that one off, how we do the
Okay.
vote?
So Mary, what do you see the advantages of the two?
The Brother, the inkjet's a little bit better in some images and like newsletters and stuff, but both of the other ones are professional grade. I was just trying to give like a option of like what's out there. And I kind of feel like the middle one. Like, as far as the inkjet versus laser, I mean, obviously the inkjets dry up, I don't know if you've ever had an inkjet. And, we do go, like January through spring is not that busy. But like summer, I'm constantly printing, so the ink gets used up. But, whereas the laser, the toner ink will last for months and months and months without being used.
Machine
so-
on and it doesn't matter how warm it gets, it doesn't really all
Yeah.
get that warm so that the ink dries out. Boy, those inkjet. No,
They're very expensive, the cartridges don't
Yeah.
last very long, and from a field perspective. with an inkjet, the ink will not adhere and stay on write and rain paper. So if you're going to wanna print out stuff out for the
Yeah.
field that isn't gonna run in the rain, which kind of negates the whole purpose of writing the rain.
Yep.
Paper, inkjet will work.
So then there's the other two, I mean, we can go with, you know, mid-size model, which really meets all of our needs. And then when we get into the Xerox, most of them don't, allow that big option, the big paper, the 11 by 17 anymore, I don't know why. But the new ones I'm looking at, and that's something we use for the maps
Yeah, it's
and
nice,
signage,
but.
those signs right there, you know? So, I mean, do we go to UPS store for that, or,
Yeah, I guess we could.
but
Yeah,
like,
so, can we hear, I wanna hear it, Jeff, you don't say what.
Well, the 11 by 17 was great to hand out to contractors and other people like that. But you know, if you have to go smaller, go
yeah,
legal 11 by 14, they'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
It won't be as legible, but you know.
but it was the
I don't
more
think that's a-
expensive, it was the more expensive one that didn't do the large, so the mid-range one here does do the larger end, so.
I mean, if you have the capacity to do it, it'd be great. But need to balance that against price and everything else. I mean, it's not absolutely critical, but it was very nice to get all the.
Okay.
That's myself.
So Mary, that should be another line, right? 11 by 17.
It's on max
It
page
is.
size there. And then the other thing is really is the cost per page. I mean, you're looking at the
Okay,
mid-range, 1.5 to 2 cents per copy versus 1.8 on the upper end.
So Mary, not to get overly complicated, but I have a question. I have two questions. Did you recommend a refurbished Xerox just because of the price honesty
Well,
or?
we have a Xerox now and it's a
Right.
good machine, you know, but when you go in there now, they don't even offer prices. Like, they wanted, you know, you gotta like call, find out the price, and then they wanna hook you into the service agreement and the lease and. Like, I can change all the stuff on the copier, there's no,
So the second point was, is that my experience has been, like the price per page and things like that for color, black and white. That changes considerably with a new machine as opposed to a refurbished. machine.
oh, right,
So you see significant savings over the lifetime of the machine.
yeah,
And if we're purchasing rather than leasing, that's
yeah.
our advantage, so.
Yeah, I mean, I could, you know, I kind of looked at it like, you know, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. That was kind of my
Yeah.
theory going, you know, like if I have to like talk to a dealer about it, but maybe I should do that.
They also have some incentives for nonprofits and government things, so,
Xerox does?
yeah, so that might be an option as well,
Okay,
worth exploring.
so we can table this until the next meeting and get some other options.
Because the new March students are on the way.
And they will,
Just, yeah,
Okay.
just one, but it's telling me to order another one already and they're $200 a pop,
Oh, they like this one.
the drums.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking, October.
Yeah,
before we-
and all of the color under 50%.
Right, so we're good till October.
Yeah, we're good to offer.
I'll go after Carol, and then look.
The Maine Association of Conservation Districts has an account with TechSoup.
Heck, soup.
Yes, which is a website that provides for sometimes reduced cost equipment, software for nonprofits, which the Soil and Water Conservation Districts can access through MACD.
So is it on the MACD website?
It is
Link
not,
to
it is, you can just go to techsoup.com, and then when Chris Brewer gets back from his vacation, he handles the administration of that site.
Great,
So I don't
nice.
know the details about printers. But it's something to take a peek at maybe and see if there's something within your range.
Sounds good.
It's just another opportunity, because as you say, you know,
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
even
for a
know about that,
nonprofit.
so thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't really hear that, and I'll catch it in a minute.
Yep.
Unless you wanna repeat.
So I think we're going to think some more about it,
Yeah, no,
table it for the moment.
she.
They have a website that Chris Brewer from MACD administers that offers nonprofits technology, so we should go and see what.
Just
that-
another source.
So
That-
purpose again?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
sometimes it's less expensive, sometimes not. Sometimes Sam's Club is the best deal.
Okay, now what about, the next to the last line, connectivity? Does this mean that, let's say, Aidan working remotely could connect, and have something printed from his own?
No,
No?
not that, do you guys do that with NRCS? Do you have, can you print remotely to a copier in your office when you're somewhere else?
Yeah.
You can. So it is, so something, do you think if it's something necessary, then we need to add that? This is not what that refers to, no.
Yeah, I'd like you to see what the
Yeah.
cost would be.
Okay.
Okay,
Hold on.
so treasurer, all done?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll move on. So I was going to do just a brief report about things that we've been doing. We just completed a 319 grant, which is an EPA funded grant for non-point source pollution with Branch Lake. Branch Lake is the public water supply for the city of Ellsworth. So we just finished that. We have, however, a number of other ponds that are also interested in starting new 319 projects. So Beach Hill Pond, we've been working with them for years. They've been largely self-funded so far. We've reapplied for the DEP 319 grant, hopefully second or third time's the charm. Other folks are interested too. Beach Hill Pond is interested, Phillips Lake, Abrams. Abrams Pond has been having algal blooms. So that would put them way up on DEP's priority list. Seems likely that they would be able to get a 319 grant. And Harriman Pond is interested. They're at the exact opposite end from Abrams Pond. So instead of being polluted, these guys have a really nice, very clean heritage brook trout water up in the hills above Ellsworth. Really gorgeous little lake, not overly developed. The easiest thing for them might be to partner with Branch Lake, because Branch Lake being a public water supply, even though they have clean water, because it's a public water supply, DEP recognizes that as a priority. And Harriman Pond drains into Branch Lake. And so,
I mean, they
Makes
said
sense.
Branch Lake with Herman Pond attached, they're very in the same watershed.
yeah,
They have reapplied for the treatment.
without Harriman.
With. Last night.
Last I heard, the locals didn't wanna do it,
Okay,
because they were afraid the government jackbooted thugs that would arrive in their black helicopters and make them clean up their lake. Yeah, so I spoke with the guy who owns most of the land there now. He's new in town, he bought 600 acres.
You mean, Jay?
Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't remember his last name.
But Branch Lake has a 319 grant proposal,
Yeah,
so I didn't know that they lit it up with her.
yeah, maybe it's not too late, I don't know.
So that landowner was opposed, is that what you're saying?
No, this landowner is just the opposite. He really wants to
Yeah,
be
I thought,
involved in the
Yeah.
319 project.
Yeah.
And they want to do one of their own if
Yeah.
they're cut out of the Branch Lake deal. So I warned him that Harriman Pond might be a low priority.
as part of that agreement.
Well, it would be a high priority if it was part of the Branch Lake grant. Because Branch Lake is a public water supply, but because it's very clean water, heritage brook trout, yada yada. It means that DEP may not think it's really at risk.
What is meant by heritage brook trout? Like,
It means that it's never been stopped. So it's always had brook trout. They've always been naturally reproducing, haven't been stopped.
Thank you. Please, the DEP representative.
That's very interesting. Sarah Nelson and the rest of,
I don't know.
I only got positive feedback
Oh.
about, Herman Pond.
Okay,
You know, like.
I may have misunderstood.
Uh,
When I was there, we were talking,
They, last I knew, they're creating their own, pond association.
yeah,
And they just came up with the pond association. I don't know, but there seemed to be at least people I was aware of. There aren't that many people in there.
no, there aren't that many.
So they
So
seem,
Sarah Nelson, we know, is in favor,
well,
and Jay, who owns the road, is in favor. He's the biggest landowner,
he's probably in favor because he wants that folder thing, but
yeah,
that doesn't qualify for narcissist.
yeah, 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 there is that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see, but anyway, so there's likely to be more 319 projects. That was Jeff's thing. Jeff is retired. We just hired Aiden. Aiden is really smart, gung ho, kind of inexperienced, but we're gonna help him out.
Oh, and just
Yeah,
the last thing I heard about 319 is all the projects have been ranked. The DEP just sitting waiting to see how much money they may get from the EPA. That's the big question, what's going on in Washington. And, you know, until they know how much money, they don't know how far to go down their list. So until they get an idea how much money they get, they're just sitting still on it.
yeah.
So I can ask Jeff, you say you've heard, so how does the manager hear these things?
Through Jesperson. Yeah. Who basically just, I just wrote her and told her, I said, okay, I'm officially retired, and she told me in that, so. But all it would take, all EP,
Yeah.
you know.
So I think Greg Bean is still our contact there.
For a while, I think he's gonna retire probably sometime this year.
Really?
I think so,
Yeah,
but
so Greg Bean and I were office mates when I was working for DEP. Way back when,
He covers a lot of territory.
yeah. Yes,
Mark's the one.
his boss is really helpful to work with him too. So, you know, they'll fill that position, but in the meantime, Alex Kwong would be there to.
Yeah.
They'll take the questions, and he's the boss sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good guy, huh?
So what's your memory of the amount of the Beach Hill?
The amount for that, I don't think I saw the final proposal or read it. I think it's somewhere in the $100,000 range.
Okay, so when was it applied for?
Well, the deadlines for all of them were back to the end of May, I believe.
End of May, so it normally would take the department how long to?
Normally, they don't make the announcements until, November. Is typically where it falls. And then they have to sign the contracts, so typically they wouldn't take effect until January. Though there have been times where they've actually come in later, the contracts haven't signed until after January. But the goal is to have sometime early in the year, signed and up and running.
Got that signed by,
Whoever is the grant.
Yeah,
like the association?
Yeah, or, we get them, we have to be the signage.
Okay.
Where the,
so I also wanted to talk a little bit about technical assistance. So our work with Abrams Pond has actually been through the town of Eastbrook. And town of Eastbrook did a fish passage and that bridge replacement that we did. And we did some 319 work for them. And now they're applying for a 319 project. We've also been approached by the town of Lemoyne. Their Parks Commission wants to do some work on the town beach. Which apparently was just kind of bulldozed flat at one point. And they planted it all over with grass. So the dunes that were protecting the beach are gone. And now they want to put them back. Because winter storms have eroded the grass away. Well, nobody expected that, of course. And so I've been in contact with Maine Geological Survey, and they actually did a little site plan for us. So they're recommending that we put a 3-foot dune back in where the grass is, and never should have been, and plant it with some beach grass and other native vegetation, and that will hopefully stop their erosion problem. So that would be a really fun project. It would be a good project for Aiden, along with other technical assistance work and any 319 projects that actually get funded.
So what would happen next? So we heard about it, then. What, who tells who what I want to know?
So we have no money for it, but we could apply for money, so we could write a grant with town or Lemoyne. And might have to go to private foundation because NRCS doesn't do towns. Municipalities, and but so towns also get infrastructure money. So they can usually get planning grants, which would allow them to develop plans for putting in the dune. So anyway,
I assume a lot of the government, the programs that were starting
Grants,
have all been whacked. But
I don't exactly know. So the Island Institute seems to still have money. And there still seems to be coastal planning money. For implementations, I just don't know. Yeah, we need to learn more about it. Shellfish resiliency. Just wanted to talk about that briefly. So I've been working with the Daniels Institute. We've been buying seed plans, putting them out of Frenchman's Bay, Ellsworth, and the towns that are around Frenchman's Bay work together so that a permit in one town allows fishermen to go out and work mud flats in any one of those other towns. Which means that when any one mud flat is closed because of red tide or something like that, people can go to the next town. And so it's been a really good thing for the fishermen. And so the soft shell clam industry, the fishery in Frenchman's Bay is worth about $2 million a year. This is really, really big money for people who don't have a lot of money and work really hard for a living. And so I've been working with Brian Beal, Professor Beal, at the clam hatchery. We've kind of given up on the idea of trying to farm the mud flats. It's just too labor intensive. Most fishermen that we know of in our area aren't willing to do that. This is something that is happening in southern Maine. Fishermen will lease plots of land and seed them out with seed clams and cover them with predator nets to keep the green crabs out. And it seems to work, but it's more work than our local people are ready for now. So we're moving on, and we're still cooperating with the Down East Institute. We're still doing the basic science behind understanding what the problems are on the flats. So I'm also doing red tide monitoring, not in Frenchman's Bay, because someone else was working there. So I have to go all the way to Castaigne to do my sites, but I do 2 sites looking for red tide, and it's part of the FDA program to make sure that seafoods in the state of Maine are safe to eat. And we're still doing water quality projects. I had my Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund project, $14,000 for Maine Outdoor Heritage, $3,000 for the John Sage Foundation for Hancock County and John Sage for Washington County. We're looking at water quality in brook trout streams, we're about halfway through that. It's looking interesting. So I think we'll be able to make some recommendations to state fisheries biologists about better managing our local fisheries. We also do the Union River Forum every year with Ellsworth, the Orland, annual Fish Migration Day in the spring. Migratory Fish Day with the town of Orland and other communities locally. We'll continue to do that. I'm still working with lake associations, teaching people to look for invasive aquatic plants. The more competent lake associations do this themselves, they have volunteers, they do a little section of the lake. Those volunteers need to be recertified every, I don't know what it is, 3 years, 5 years. Something, so I do those recertifications for them and do any training if they have new volunteers. And I even do some basic plant monitoring myself. So, and courtesy boat inspections. So I've been working with the town of Bucksport. Their water supply is Silver Lake. Silver Lake it's an artificial lake, it's a reservoir, it's the town water supply. And I've been working with Susan Lassard, was town manager. They have a new manager, can't remember what his name is, sorry. But they do courtesy boat inspections there to make sure that invasive plants don't get into their lake and pollute their water supply. And so I took a bunch of people out training them in invasive plant identification and showed them how to do a courtesy boat inspection.
On the other two reservoirs, Alamoosic Lake and Toddy Pond, there are an association for each of those lakes. They are now in contention for becoming in charge of their lakes because of dam ownership transfer to some kind of quasi municipal taxing body. That's still in formation right now. They're still working on the representatives from the State House, their initiatives to organize what apparently will be some kind of watershed district. They will each have their own jurisdiction, that lake. They've been associations for their lake for years and years, and they do courtesy boat inspections. They try to get little volunteers out there on their lake doing the same thing as well.
I have a question on how your supervisors train with the basic level of invasive.
Invasive plant control.
And for one, I haven't received my certification card. Anybody else get there?
So I've been bugging them about it. Yeah. So Brad.
But that doesn't give me, I mean, I can't go out and train anybody just holding that card.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can go out there and you can trawl for invasive.
Yeah.
Mark, that survey that you just recently did for the Onion, that they reached out to us, wasn't that about that?
It was, yeah, I'm thinking that the Onion Foundation is looking to support some of these programs, so they have supported us in the past, and that could well happen again. I hope, fingers crossed. Yeah,
That was my impression.
yeah. We're also involved in the Envirothon, so Mary and I have gone to, how many? 3?
These guys go too, you guys are at the.
Envirothon. So Envirothon is an after-school program for high school kids. They have a curriculum where they learn about aquatic and terrestrial forests and streams and lakes, soils, that's right. And then it's a competition. And so they meet locally at first, and then the winners from the local competition go to the state competition, and the winners from the state competition will go to an interstate, a national, or it's actually It's actually international because it includes Canada competition. And so any of you with education experience who wants to get involved with youngsters, Ellsworth currently does not participate in the Envirothon program. And what we need is someone who can kind of hold the hand of some of the local teachers and show them how the program works. Hand over the necessary curriculum materials and tell them that we can help them train their kids.
Yeah, the American teams have an advisor, an adult advisor, and usually the teams are made up with 4 to 5 students. Team members. And Mark and Mary Rose have been phenomenal. Your specialty in aquatics is well regarded for sure. A great competition.
So again, anybody who's interested, that's an opportunity to become involved. We also do some terrestrial invasive work. I would say that Tabitha and I, this has been one of the focuses of our backyard rewilding work. So we meet with people. The first visit is free. We spend an hour with local people going through their garden, telling them, what they do have, suggesting some things that they might want to have that they don't. We can talk about pollinator gardens. We can talk about attracting birds and other wildlife. And we always talk about invasive plants. And I think, even though I'm a trained botanist, and even though Tabitha is a trained arborist, I think we're both a little weak on terrestrial invasives. And DACF has a training program. And I think we should look towards getting certified to do the terrestrial invasive plant work. And there is USDA money for people to meet with farmers and other landowners who have invasive problems, have problems with invasives, to do invasive plant management plans. Yeah. And there's other outreach like the Lemoyne work.
Mark, would that be something for our new technical systems person?
Yeah, so it could be something for Aiden, it could be something for Tabitha, if she were looking for more hours. Tabitha seems really busy. And so, somebody like Aiden, who has some part-time work, but maybe wants to work more hours, he's supporting a family.
Yeah.
This might be something of interest for him.
That sounds great to me.
Yeah, yeah, great.
I didn't want to interrupt online too often, but that sounds great.
Good to hear your voice.
Well, I'm glad our connections work. So the owl is working.
It took me a bit to get on, but I've been here for a minute now.
Sorry about that. This is the first time we
You're all
tried
good.
it. Oh,
I was having issues with the owl, but eventually the Zoom just started working, so
okay, great.
I was having a lot of issues.
Good
I'm
to
sure
know.
it was on my end.
yeah, you're all good.
And so that's what we've been doing. And then here's where the strategic planning part comes in. We still need to do Mary's thing, but we should be thinking about goals for next year. And so I've written up a proposal for getting involved with the Union River Dam relicensing. I've circulated that. I'm looking for feedback from board members or anybody else who's interested. I think we should look into some opportunities on this invasive plant managing work. We want to do another forestry field day. Our last one was really well attended.
Yeah, that'd be great. Visit those two.
Yeah,
The grant dollars?
and chat too. Yeah,
The grant dollars something for.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so there's money again, so that's good to know. And then finally, Mary's proposing that we make our commercial part of our website permanent. And it would allow people to not only engage us and our plant sale, but in other ways too. So
That was John's idea.
John's
He's
idea?
been submitting a lot of ideas for outreach and.
So there are some great booklets that are available for people who own property. So if you're interested in basic plans, there's a book for that. If you're interested in backyard rewilding, there's a bunch of different books. That would be really good for that. There's one that's focused just on pollinators. There's one that's focused just on butterflies and moths. There's another one that's focused on let's see. Where was I going with that? Oh, the terrestrial invasives.
Are those all from DACF? So we get a little,
Often these are
we get a little.
agency,
Yeah,
yeah,
so we
programs,
can make a little bit of money as we do it, which is nice,
yeah,
and make sure you get the resources available to people.
yeah.
So what do we have to do with these opportunities? Kind of pique the volunteers' imagination or what? What are we thinking?
So,
Provide information, I would think.
Post it online
yeah,
and anything else? In the newsletter,
I'm not sure what you're asking.
all these opportunities that the chairman is speaking of, how does the district take advantage of them more completely?
so one thing we need to know is who is out there. And what talents you have, and what kind of time you have to offer. Oh, thank you. And so if you're interested in education work, if you want to take on Envirothon, if you want to work with high school kids after hours, come and see me. If you're a farmer and you feel like there just isn't enough support for invasive plant control, or if you're a blueberry farmer and you really need to do some irrigation work, come and see us and we'll figure out if we can connect some dots and make that happen.
So what we have online so far, is that accommodate all like people's different interests? Maybe we should put more information and forms and inquiry forms
Yeah,
for the different.
so one thing we could do, I think, with our website is we could just continue the inquiry, the survey work. So if you have a special interest, you can fill out this form, send it in to us, and we could take some time, think about it and get back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Decide which ones we want to start with,
Yeah,
because the web web updates are constant, so like, what do we want to push to the front? Because I have a long list
Yeah.
of things we want to do on the website, there's a
Well,
lot of stuff.
get a couple going today. We don't meet again for another month and a half.
Yeah,
yeah. So if you have some ideas, see me today. And we'll talk about it. So Mary, why don't you take it from here?
okay, so first on the website, the two sets of numbers you see at the top. I forgot to put in the dates on there, but basically it's August 1 to August 1 of this, this current year and then the previous year. So you can see the visits to our website, unique visits to our website have increased about threefold, but I think it's Tyler. I've done the new, and we might have just lost Wi-Fi for a minute. That's why.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, so we're definitely having, growth, so the visits and then the bounce rate is like extraordinary. It means basically, because when you go to a website and then you just immediately click away, that's a bounce. So having a 45% of people that come to the website and stay there and click onto another page is super high, like on average. So that's good, the people coming and staying on the
It's
website.
all me.
Yes. Yeah, I'm always telling them, just go on the website. Oh, yeah, so the unique visitors at 2.8 thousand, that's the total visits, so we have people coming back a lot, and that's good too. Probably you, Andrew, yeah. And then the page views is like, so people that are coming on are averaging about 3 pages per visit, it's kind of like what's happening. And then you can see the year below, and then the traffic sources below. The top line is just all of them combined, and then the direct sources are people like looking for us, or know who we are, or type it in Hancock County, or have it as a favorite, they're just clicking right in. And then social means they're coming in from our Facebook, and search, which is growing, they're all growing pretty much except for the referral, which we just don't do. But, people searching for soil tests, or people searching for, services that we ask, if you're finding us. Most of our users are on desktop as opposed to mobile, but the mobile is considerable. So that means when they're accessing our website, most of them are doing it on a PC or laptop or MacBook. And then most of our browsers use Chrome as their browser of choice. So if you guys know me, I'm always trying to talk about Google Workspace as, only because of collaboration with our other nonprofits. They're all using it, and it's hard when we're not all on the same Microsoft account, that's the same. We're not all on the same account, so.
There I have a question.
Yeah.
It's relatively inexpensive for a nonprofit, right?
Yeah, but when you try to do it with Google, they say either yes or no, are you 501c3, are you 501c3 or not? And we're 501c3 we get immediately kicked out, so that's the issue.
Okay.
So we can use Google now, and I do use it all the time for non-personal information stuff, like for collaborating, like when we did the Green Mountain,
Right.
we did the forestry field day. Derek opened up we're like collaborating, asking questions, and yeah, so I'm always talking on marketing, but I'm sorry about it.
So that's.
I'd like to.
There's no way to get around that block.
There might be, but it's like, it's a matter of contacting Google, which is,
Yeah.
everything is, they're all like pretty much automated, so it's something that we could look into.
So Carol, is there interest in other districts to be able to access the Google, package? The
Workforce, or works, is it all?
Google.
I call it Google Suite.
I haven't heard anybody mention that to me, but I will acknowledge that districts don't usually come to me for technical questions. Okay. Chris Brewer from Cumberland County is a technical advocate for the districts, so he would probably receive those questions or comments, not me.
And we could definitely do it, but it's gonna be like $20 a person, that's all.
No, I know.
So the free one.
I
is what
wonder
we
if
want.
Chris would have an idea.
He said it's a mess and he doesn't deal with Google at all.
Okay.
I asked him if I wanted to.
Right, that's gonna do that. Okay, so that, he's not advocating for that.
Nope, but I use it constantly. And so do all of our partners and all of the majority of our email subscribers and visitors to our website are using Chrome. So I feel like it's kind of like a.
Necessity.
Well,
The necessity.
just to make sure that we're serving everybody.
I mean, the thing is, we can all work in the same document, that's one of the things.
That's the absolute best thing.
10 different organizations that aren't related to each other.
There's one copy of every
There's one
document.
Google Drive document, we all put in information.
And all the versions are saved right in that, you just look at the versions, there's the date of all the versions all in one place.
Yeah.
It's like a miracle when it comes to like document management.
Like we're trying to plan something.
And most of our stuff is
Organizations
public.
can type right into the
Yeah.
same document, and everybody sees everybody else's.
And you can do comments, you can do track changes, so you can do it, so you're just editing, so everyone can see what you're changing, just like in Microsoft. But everybody, the document is always live all the time, it's always constantly updated no matter.
It's
So it's
collective,
just-
it's
but,
an amazing tool, I just have to tell you.
Yeah,
How's that different than Google Drive, using Google Drive?
it is Google Drive.
It is Google Drive.
Well, the thing is, there's security. If you don't have there's limitations as to storage and security when you don't have the workforce.
Is your internet, annotated?
No,
Or do you have? your-
no, we have to have our own, So anything, I'm sorry to go on about that, but yeah. We'll keep talking about it. It's, when it comes out, then.
Sounds like. That's an account for each supervisor or the link for each.
Yeah, we could do that now, but we may run into storage issues when it's just a local drive, especially when we have like. You know, if we put, I wouldn't put I still would use Microsoft to put all of our. Personnel stuff, you know, that everything is saved in Microsoft right now, and we have a local drive that backs
Well,
up.
think about the emails that kind of get lost. You know, you might make a comment, but then
Yeah,
crickets there.
exactly, like in that recently, because we had to turn over that personnel stuff, thank you, because for 8, and we want to get everything ready. And having all these different people opening up the document, making changes, and then sending back texts and sending back emails. What do we want to do? No, let's do this, let's do that. It probably took us all about 8 hours, and I think it would have taken us 1 hour to move it on. That's my point. Yeah.
So can you set us up to
Yeah,
start using?
we can, but I think we just need to make sure that the security is okay for a non-workspace. I mean, I think we have, as a state agency, we have to have a certain level, and if we don't have the corporate one where we pay $20 a month for everybody, then we're just doing like a little local drive, which is what I've been using, and have, you know, I do all my tracking and everything in there.
So $20 for all.
For a month,
Yeah,
for
for-
anyone using it,
for all
and then you don't
supervisors,
have problems about accessing this dog, or I don't have access.
$20 a month or $20 a person?
$20 a person per month.
That's really got it.
That's, and we're nonprofit, so it should be free for us.
I'm not familiar with Google Workspace. But at Google Drive, I've used it with a bunch of different people.
Yeah,
The people out in the same everything we have shared, you know, we
Yeah,
allow people to share.
Yeah.
Stuff on the drive and give them permission. And then if you have decent security on your computers,
yeah,
then some of that worry about, and in fact, the document should be caught there. And I haven't run into any kind of base issues,
Yeah.
unless you're using it for like OneDrive or anything.
no, but like we store like. Yeah, I mean, we use we store our transcripts, our 2-hour transcripts, you know, we have like audio files, video files of all the meetings and stuff like that, but, yeah. So we can. I still use Microsoft because it hooks up with Carol and all the other districts. It's where I have, where, when everything's final, I save it there. All our info, I save it there. But I think like for public facing collaboration, like Google's the way to go. That's kind of my feeling on it. And maybe we don't have to have a paid drive or a corporate drive to do it. I can look into that. That makes sense?
if you have questions about that, I would talk to Tom Gordon
Okay.
and ask him if that's a requirement through, you know, state security.
Yep.
Issues, because I can't remember him talking about that. But he would be the person with that information, or know the person that has that information
Okay, that sounds good.
at that state level.
Okay.
So Carol, is there any discount, is there a discount, you know, deal?
Well, I'm kind of there with Prep is that my questions have been answered, that already we have the software in place that has the protection. And so when I say, do I need to have, you know, extra safeguards on my computer? Because I don't have a federal computer or a state computer, I have my computer. But the software that I have through MACD and the districts, I've been told has all the correct safeguards.
And that's really what we just need to make sure that
Yeah,
if we're not gonna go with the corporate works, we're just gonna use a drive through our Gmail, which we have, and I use all the time, that we just need to make sure it matches
yeah.
that, so. So I'll keep looking into that a little bit. Our email list is growing, almost 100 new subscribers this year. We have 704 email on our list.
Where do we think the new subscribers come from?
The website,
Okay.
that's, they're all from the website. So they're hitting the subscribe button somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, couple places. The email performance, we have a really good open rate. Half, I mean, you know, you all get 1 million emails every day, right? You don't like them, probably half of them, maybe, I mean, the ones that personal. But like people, so 50%, the open rate is really high, 51%, and then the click rate is really solid. That means people are reading something and then going clicking to something that you want. Our phone contacts for the year, 75 people, 75 calls across 20 towns. Most of them were plant sales and trout sales and rewilding. So, and then the most geographically is Gouldsboro, Blue Hill, Dedham, Franklin, and Winter Harbor.
We have a,
Yeah.
on our spectrum, do they have like a code that tells you where the call came from? How do we know these calls are coming from?
Well, we don't know all of them, because I don't, usually I know, like, when I take down the message, usually I know where they're from.
Oh, I see.
I find out where they're from. And sometimes I have to ask them what it is, like if it's backyard rewilding, like where, I'll ask what town they're in. But sometimes they're just calling for something general and it's not appropriate to ask where they're calling from. So I'm not sure of Spectrum. We only pay $6 a month for that cell phone and cell phone service. I don't know how that happened, but I don't wanna call and they'll try to make me do a bundle or something, they're always calling me, I'm like, oh, they're trying to sell us more, so.
You're only paying $6.
We're paying $6 a month for that. We got some deals. I don't wanna rock the boat, make it any more. So then that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions? Anything about that?
Great report, thanks.
Welcome. And then, the next thing is the pre-meeting survey. So these are all the results. We only have 7 people fill it out. So maybe we can focus on, and most of those people are here. I don't know, all those people are here. So I don't know if we need to look at this or how you want to transition into a strategy and goal, which is, oh wait, we had another business thing first.
Agree?
Does participating in Autumn Gold Food Fest and support
yes.
local food distribution networks. Does it align with our mission? And our mission. Where do I have that? On the survey. Yes, I'm somewhere. Do you want me to read it and then we can all decide?
Sure.
If we. Hancock County Soil and Water Conservation District provides local conservation leadership, encourages best practices, and helps to plan and implement voluntary programs in Hancock County. It's pretty vague. I mean, general. Exactly, all encompassing.
So voluntary, any particular voluntary program?
Conservation.
I mean, if somebody would get that out of reading that statement.
Yeah, maybe we should look at improving that at some point, right?
What would you be doing with the Autumn Gold? Can I talk about?
Yes, this is Tracy. Will you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Tracy Shekel, and as I said earlier, I'm doing some work around the New River Center for Innovation, and we convened a food advisory group to start looking at the local food economy in Ellsworth and the vicinity. And that kind of morphed into being a part of that Down East Food System Partnership that Healthy Katie is part of the grant recipient on, he started for me. And so anyway, at the advice of Mary Blackstone, in talking about how she got Green Ellsworth off the ground, she said, what we should do is have some events and get stakeholders engaged and bring the food community together. So out of that was born Food Fest and Market on Main. And the intent is to showcase, I don't want to say from end to end because it's a circle, but showcase the circle of a food system. So yes, there will be makers there that maybe sell canned goods, there'll be restaurants involved, but there'll also be farmers and charities that fight food insecurity. And so basically the MO for participation is, if what your organization does has anything to do with the food system, then you should be there. And what we're hoping is that the draw of places like Hancock to sell gelato will get people to come to the Loaves and Fishes booth so that they learn about what Loaves and Fishes does to keep food on people's table. And to encourage that, we have a passport that we're developing. And so right now, I think there's 16 vendors signed up to be at the marketplace on Saturday, the 27th of September. And everybody who shows up to visit is going to get this passport, and they're going to be asked to get a stamp at every place they go. And of course, we're going to provide either stickers or rubber stamps or whatever. And then after that, that passport will get them discounts at businesses around town who have chosen to participate. So if you get your passport filled out and you go to Acadia Provisions, maybe they're gonna give you 10% off their order or something like that. But what we wanted to do was get people into the downtown for this event. We're gonna have music all day. And the way to get them to the, I don't wanna say less interesting booths, but if you're there with your 3 kids and you can get ice cream, you're probably gonna go there before you're gonna come to the conservation table or local nutrition. And so this passport will get them to go everywhere so that they can enjoy the benefits of joins and discounts after. And so it's commercial, but it's not commercial. It's really about what is the food system, what it is, and how we can make it better. Where is that? It's gonna be in what we fondly call in town, the Franklin Street Parklet, which is that little area that's got the planters between where Blackland Public House is on Main Street and then Elizabeth's across the street. And we're also going to use what it was a little alley behind the stores, it's called Store Street. So we're gonna use the parklet and we're gonna use Store Street behind the stores to put the vendors and information. I have, I think 6 or 7 nonprofits, including CEI, coming because they want to talk about how to help farmers, businesses get off the ground, and farmers, that kind of thing.
Cool. Can you speak?
Yeah, so I'm gonna apologize up front. I mean, it's a wonderful event. And I'll stipulate everything you said, for its purpose and so on. I'm not so much focused on the single event. It's really the long-term fit for the district in the food distribution network specific to Ellsworth. And, the genesis of Public Gold really being a function of the Ellsworth Chamber of Commerce. There's certainly a role for the district, but I don't know that necessarily is one that aligns with our mission. We're not a social services agency. We don't really play a role in food insecurity. I don't know that we ever will. And I just want to be careful that we're not aligning with something that really isn't germane to what it is we do, for a variety of reasons. There are competing business interests in Ellsworth. In addition to, the Chamber of Commerce, there's the Heart of Ellsworth. I don't want to align with one entity at the expense of good relationships with everyone, not just in Ellsworth, but the entirety of Hancock County, so.
And can I just,
Please, yeah, no.
I'm not trying to debate, but
Sorry.
to clarify, this event, while it's happening during Autumn Gold weekend, is not an Autumn Gold event, if you will. When we talked about doing it, and this was, when we talked to Mary about how she started Green Ellsworth from this little seed and turned it into what it is. She's like, we did little things. We planted a little tree farm and that got people involved. And then we planted a community garden and that got people involved. To get stakeholders to the table so that they could take it to the next level. And so we started looking at dates of when we could do something like this after the tourist season was mostly over. And rather than, compete with Heart of Ellsworth weekend that Heart of Ellsworth does the following weekend, we didn't realize that cider and cheese wasn't happening. So in looking at how do you get free publicity, how do you get people to learn about the nonprofits that, you might not be food insecurity, but you're helping farmers or you're helping marine scientists and fishermen. That's part of the food system. How do we get them in a place where people might not know about them and learn about them? And this just seemed it. You picked Autumn Gold weekend because of the free publicity around, this is an event down in Park.
Yeah, and I stipulate that makes perfect sense. And again, I'm not particularly focused on this solitary event. It's really the long term, and if you spend any time online looking at participating agencies and so on, there's a lot of advocacy there. That doesn't necessarily align with who we what we're about or should be about, and that concerns me. So I want to control our message. We can't control the message of other organizations. And I'm very paranoid about being affiliated with others that don't necessarily work or exist within the same framework that we do as a quasi-governmental entity. And that's of great concern to me, and I think the exposure for us and everything from funding, grant eligibility, just our reputation outside of Ellsworth. And what it is we do and what we're about is precarious enough, and we're trying to improve that. And that's really what I thought this is an objection, so. Thanks.
Right, so that. Your statement. Doesn't preclude this other business. Of participating in Autumn Gold Food Fest.
Well, we also spoke with our NRCS outreach court, or is, Tom? NRCS or USDA?
He's understanding that.
NRCS, and he gave it a no for us, like, and my board, or who I work for. Said we wanted to align with what their policy was, so that's kind of where this all came from, but, I mean, from my standpoint. And I don't know if this is true, I hear through things that like, there's less money to go towards all these food insecurity projects, there's less federal funding. So the states are gonna have to. Try to pick up some of this, and is there any role, for us in that? As we're related to farmers and sustainability.
So. Doesn't preclude, right?
Again, this solitary event, no, but is it something that we should be involved in? Going forward, long term as a participating member, I'm uncomfortable with that.
There's nothing to be a member of. And, I know that you guys exist. I did not have any idea what you did. Never looked at your website until you responded to the survey a couple of weeks back to look and see what you do. And my profession is a marketer. I consult marketing and PR, and so. My thoughts on, and honestly, it was Mary's idea to invite you guys, she thought it would be a good fit, is this is a population. This market that's gonna show up at this thing, who probably has no idea that you exist, probably doesn't know what you do. And it gives you a day of free marketing, and there's nothing to be involved in going forward. I mean, if we do it again next year and we found that it was productive because you got subscribers to your website, then maybe you wanna come back, but there's no affiliation here, it's just.
Well,
exposure.
and again, I'm not focused on the solitary event, but two things, if, the district's names appears on a website. Along with other organizations that are engaged in very specific advocacies that are allied and affiliated to a plethora of causes. Many of them social services that are germane to us, that's a concern. And then two, if NRCS, if it's something that NRCS would not participate in, then I feel strongly that we should honor the same. I don't see how we could practically deviate from that.
And I think though.
And I know this isn't popular, but it's my honest feelings.
And I agree with what you're saying too, not that it matters, but, when I talked to Tom, it was after you and I had a call. So there's a lot of context that he didn't have, so I could revisit that with him. That was all right, guys.
I think the only stop outreach right now with NRCS is that they're waiting for the new fiscal year. So we can't do any new outreach until the new fiscal year begins. Which is October 1st.
But we can, right?
Right, I think
Yeah.
you guys can, but I don't know,
But we would still want to align with
what was your conversation?
Well, the board had asked, how did that all come about?
So
I just asked him if I gave you the initial survey, I forwarded that to him, and like, we're thinking about participating in this. Some of the board members aren't sure whether this is in our mission, would you guys consider this if you're available? And he said no. But, I had a bunch of, what's that?
We can't do anything for the next fiscal year.
Yeah. Right.
This is a two-part question. Just bullet point stuff, please. And supporting a local food distribution network.
Yes, and that's the part that is problematic for me.
What does the word support mean in this context? I mean, we provide free soil testing as part of food distribution? Are we already doing it?
So we do it, yes.
Yeah.
And so for all communities, for all constituencies in Hancock County.
Yeah. So are we? What's the answer to this second part of the question?
I gave you my version.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on it?
Food generation, food distribution. Generation and distribution are an end product of what we do, which is soil and water conservation. We're undergirding, you know, food. Support, food. We don't want to be directly involved necessarily with scarcity issues and distribution issues and specific branding issues. But we certainly are, in general, without brands or affiliations or connections involved, undergirding the support of this industry, of this service that all people need. That's my opinion.
I think one of the things that, and we were thinking, when we were talking about this is that we didn't want to be the only agency there. And so if we could be there with some of our partners, then I think it makes it look better.
And several of our partners are on the list of.
So I think, yeah, so maybe that makes it work.
So so along those lines. If we were the executive board of the cooperative extension, right, this would be an easy one, I think. But we're not the cooperative extension. So I'm also worried, just because some of our, affiliates might be engaged to some level, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for us to do the same. I hear what you're saying, but that's not really the barometer. They're not the ones that are the arbiters of future consequences for us, both in the positive and potentially the negative. So that's, again, sorry to be overly paranoid, but speaking very candidly, most colleagues and parents.
So as far as we know, there isn't another state or federal agency involved.
No, it was local, a lot of
Local. Yeah. Well, shall we table this?
I think we should decide it today because
Okay,
here we are again.
here we are again.
And there will be no hard feelings. I mean, honestly, what we're trying to do is call attention to the different pieces of the puzzle that get food planted and out of the ground and into people's hands, whether it's through farming or through supporting farmers or through aquaculture. We just want everybody to have an opportunity to tell the rest of the world what their part in the food system is. And if it's uncomfortable for you, then it's uncomfortable for you.
I don't think that we should, in this conference, or going out into the public and presenting what we are. If you're inviting us to this and other activities, or we do that, I don't see a problem. With participating in that activity.
And I think we're already supporting a local food distribution network, water quality protection, soil testing, lending out agricultural implements. I mean,
Right,
we're already doing.
that's what it boils down to, it's just this is the way to let people know what you do. Who may not know.
So I think we're at the point where we can entertain a motion if someone would like to.
I so move that we do that.
Have we joined
that event.
the Food Fest? Article Food Fest?
I'll second it, and say that I thought we may have already registered.
Yeah.
Well, I still know who's in charge of the registration, I can unregister you if that would be happy.
Well, I did it quickly because there was a deadline and then I told the board about it at the next meeting.
Wait,
Well, I didn't want to not be able to if we wanted to.
So is that, to continue the discussion, I'll repeat myself, we're already supporting local food distribution network. We don't have to do anything else, just continue doing our.
Is there a price So do
No,
we have to join anything?
no,
Okay,
Okay,
all you have to do is get me a clean logo.
okay, we can do that.
okay. So we have 5 voting members. We have 1 associate, so you're welcome to join us. So all in favor of the motion
Which was
to participate with the food fest with our own table and our own literature, please so indicate with a raised hand. Okay. Okay,
John, I didn't see yours,
And-
you up or down? Okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
any abstentions or nays? Okay. There we go.
And we can really focus on like activities that really speak to what we do and
Yeah, we'll have to,
we'll just
Yeah.
come up with something that really.
we'll have to think this through.
And if, mentions that,
If NRCS.
Yeah.
Then you can.
yeah, you can
promote
put
that.
NRCS stuff out.
Yeah,
Oh, that.
Oh.
okay.
that would be great.
Yeah,
That would be great.
Okay.
yeah, so
Distribution.
I don't know if they have any of the little squishy things.
I'll loop you in.
Those are.
Yeah.
Bigger than, right?
Yeah.
And we're very, very close partnering with.
At the Acadia, and I'm waiting to, Katie's on vacation this week, so I'm waiting to hear back from them, to see what they're doing.
So I think that's good. I think
Yeah,
that,
if that was
that would help.
the background is that Tom can't go anyplace because he can't travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I know that there were travel restrictions.
We're at 2:17. I'm really sorry this has gone over.
Yeah,
My fault.
So-
I'm very comfortable and having a good time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you
did
for
nice
coming.
thing.